Okay, you take one. You take one. You two, I need ladies. I need a lady, please. Can have 4 men and no lady. Yes. You. Let's do those 5 and then we'll come and do another set of 5, okay?
Mheshimiwa, I'm happy you are banking, finance, insurance, and you've been in Ministry of Finance and Planning. I'm happy because that's where my question is going. I have no work in the same something in the same area. My question is this, and very direct. You mentioned about the disadvantage of big government, and there's this big government called counties. Those many people who are going to work in the office, the ones who are elected, the governor is in group and he has a sub-cabinet there. There are too many of these, and some of the counties are so full. I wonder how we are going to pay. You talked about we are raising 9 billion now, and after that 9 billion, it all goes to, and now you, of course, Parliament, want us to employ more people. And a sub-question of this is the CDF thing. Thank God you also have a record of good running of CDF. The CDF money has been run so poorly. Is there anything that has done with that decision? Because it seems to be run at the will of the member of Parliament, who is an MP and does things for his own good.
Okay, thank you. Please, no speeches and no sub-questions. Thank you. Number 2. There was somebody second. You walk. Okay. Stand up, man. Let's save time. We want to ask as many as we can. If you take so long, then we're going to be pretty tough.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you very much for good service to our country. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Quick question. You talked about Kenyan diasporas, and more often people talk about Kenyans contributing remittances to the country, which is a good thing. But I'm curious as to, if you don't mind sharing with us, what are the specific engagement programs do you have as an association individually and collectively as an executive government so that these Kenyans here can contribute to Kenya? Now, when I refer to what the Australian government is doing, there are 3 systems in which they have Australians who decide to go back to their home countries, and the government does receive them honorably. And then there's another program where they want the Australians to stay overseas, work with the Kenyans who are already American citizens and who are going to Australia back home. What specific programs do you have in mind? And if you don't have any, now that we know exactly what you want to do you want to be our point person so that in future we can try to use this as a person of contact to have those programs in place?
Thank you. What's that? Somebody over here? Yeah, go on. Please, if you're asking a question, would we move to this one maybe?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kenneth. To see you over here. The question I have about the Kenyans is, I want to know, you said we can guess what you're running for as a president or whatever you're running. Are you affiliated to 6 other people like G7, PNU, ODM? Are you affiliated to any?
Okay, and I'm sure when a question comes up that might have been answered, then we'll probably move on. Who is the next one? No, that's Lady Jennifer.
Hello, first I want to congratulate you. My name is Wanjiko for the good job that you have done in Katanga. I've been to Katanga very recently and I really like the place. I have a 3-part question. First question is, you said you grew up in Isili. That's why it's Eastlands. Bahati Eastlands, that's what we call it. And that's where you spent most of your time. I'm curious to know why you chose Katanga instead of Bahati. My other question, as a Kenyan who regularly goes to Kenya almost every year, trying to invest there, they have been unable to buy a property because of the prices. They are so high, they go up every month. What is going on? Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Just ask the question. One of the leaders to be in the future, and I like what we call justice. You talked about justice. Lift the mic. You were elected. Are you going to make sure that justice is not only done, but those people who made Kenya to be what it is, who messed up Kenya, are you going to make sure that they are taken back to court and justice is done?
Thank you. I think the easiest question to answer is to my friend there who asked me if I'm affiliated to any groups. Probably you are not here when I spoke about it. And I said, I have to deal with Kenyans. I'm not anybody's proxy, I've not sat down with any politician, and I want to be direct about it. Let Kenyans look for ability in me, that is what we count. I am not affiliated. I hope I can answer you. On counties, I'm answering 5. No, that's another question, but which I will now save you from standing or from speaking is I. Counties. It's a very good question, but it's also an opportunity. In county devolution, they are going to share 15% of the entire national revenue. Now, if you look at the county I come from, the amount of money we get at 7 constituencies per year is about 330 million shillings. But what the county will get is about 3 billion, which means there is an opportunity to actually give free service and services to the people. What we must guard is a Nigerian thing of governance, where all the money they get from oil revenues goes to recurrent expenditure in exchange of services. What we must make sure we do is pass enough regulation by way of Financial Management Act to ensure we do not have a devolution of corruption, but a devolution of resources. That is what is important. In terms of CDF, yes, I think there are issues of malpractices, and these are being followed right now on about 100 constituencies by the Kenya Anti-Corruption. And I think for me, when county devolution comes in, that might be the end of CDF. So that also exists. In terms of where I grew up, I was giving a history of how I grew up, where I grew up. I could have run in Bahati, I could have run in Starehe, where I spent most of my other time. I loved country life. And I decided to go to the countryside, settled way back, built a home. And any time I want to go and sleep, I always find solace in going to sleep in my house in Katanga. In terms of property prices, you know, you guys are used to bubble busts. We don't have it in Kenya. We don't have it, and we are not going to have it. And I'll give you the reasons. Because I've had this for the last 15 years. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, our professionals of Katanga constituency, who meet once a month at Partner Sports Club, decided they were going to buy a 350-acre piece of land in Thika. It was going for 300,000 shillings. And I had told them, because I had been part of the negotiating team that negotiated the construction and the funding of the new road, I told them there would be a new road. At the last valuation 2 months ago, somebody was offering them 6 million an acre, from 300,000 2 years ago. The manner in which our property is growing, and I'm happy because Dr. Siad is here, because there have been a lot of accusations that the Somalis are invading the property, and which I want to discount, because our people tend to develop where the infrastructure is going. If you look at the prices on Thika Road, they've gone up. If you look at the prices in Nairobi, they've gone up. If you look at Isili, where you wanted to talk about, It is not Somalis who are buying that property, it's Kenya Somalis. And they are buying because they are trading in Ethiopia. Because it's a bigger country with 100 million people. They are able to get goods from Somali duty-free, sell in Ethiopia and bring the proceeds in Kenya. But much more than that, our middle class, they are professionals who are starting by buying flats. When they get families, they move from flats, they go to townhouses. When they become middle class managers, they move from townhouses to houses with compound. And this is a movement that is going on. The second thing, you guys here are part of it. When you send 200 billion, which doesn't go to Kenya government but to your relatives, most of it is for property other than medical health care. And therefore, we have ready buyers from here. And I know the next question you'll ask me is that you've been called many times, but that's not my business. So for me, the bubble is not about to burst. And it keeps on going up. Keeps on going up. We are now having actually property re-engineering. And I'll tell you how it's happening. People come up with things like Tattoo City, Thika Greens, Mika Estate. They actually get the money from you before they start construction. That is how much there is for houses and for homes. People get money to develop, and they're developing for you, as opposed to a long time ago when you bought a finished product. How is the bubble going to burst? It's not going to burst. So if you want to buy a property, ma'am, buy now. 2 years from now, you'll be much richer.
Please let me clarify something. I didn't want to talk, I grew up in the country, so I had a problem with speaking English, I didn't want to talk about it.
No, I got you. I'm just trying to expound because somebody might ask me. I'm trying to get as many things associated. That's why I said I'm happy my friend Siad is here, because I can speak when he's here freely. Now, on justice, my friend, it's not negotiable. You want to have a decent country, you cannot compromise justice. And you should never compromise justice. What will push us on the right track is to ensure the law is followed. What will push us on the right track? What will put us on the right track is to ensure the dispensation is fast and efficient, because that's the only way investors will come in, because they know adjudication is quick and swift. I told people in Washington, D.C., that the Chinese have a way in which they deal with corruption. And this has actually helped them, because they are a big population. How they deal with it, is that you are charged at 9 o'clock, you are sentenced at 11, your appeal is at 3, you are hanged at 4. It has worked for them. So, we need speed and efficiency. And everybody knows there is no time to try and bribe, because you'll be hanged the same day. My friend asked about remittances and diaspora and what plans we have. I think we've never managed to put a pool to attract the manner in which we can be attractive as a country to the Kenyans who live outside. That has not been harmonized. What we have done as a country is to try to appeal to Kenyans who live outside to invest and take opportunities on things that are coming up, like our flagship projects. Under Vision 2030, you have the rapid train system in Nairobi, and we are asking Kenyans who live outside who have experience to come in. We are having the Lamu port. You